Thank you very much. It's a privilege to be with all of you on this special day. I hope, as Oklahomans, you'll think for a moment about the land rush. It wasn't that long ago. Think about the hopes and dreams your ancestors had on that day as you think about your hopes and dreams on this day. All of their worldly possessions, in many cases, were in their saddlebags. Do you think that in their boldest dreams they ever thought this school would exist, or that the skyline that exists in your largest cities would exist? No, they had great dreams for Oklahoma, but Oklahoma has accomplished things far beyond the dreams they had the day they first had land of their own. Why do I bring this up? Just think how far you've come. Look at what those who came before you created. They were tough people. The question is, where do you go from here as you leave this great university? First, while we're all here, I want you to do me several favors. Number one, thank the faculty before you leave. Think how bright they are. Think how talented they are. Think what the difference it would have been if they had gone out just to make a lot of money, as opposed to staying here, giving and giving and giving to all of you. And all the graduates, and there are many here today, whose parents have worked and sacrificed so that you could be here, please, as you celebrate this day, take some time with just your parents and let them know how much you appreciate everything they gave up so that you could go through this great school. Many of you are the first generation from your family to ever get a college degree. You have a special obligation to spend some time with your parents, because I'll guarantee you they're sitting here today with stars in their eyes, because through you, they have achieved the dreams they had as young people, but never were able to have them materialize in their own lives. You have appropriately honored the graduates and marked the graduates who have the finest academic credentials. Never forget that your minds are a genetic gift. It's something given to you. Now, you've developed it, and you deserve a great deal of credit for that. You can read complex material once and have it in your beautifully wired brain, while many of us would have to read it 5 times and memorize it just to get by on the quiz. Will you achieve your full potential? Will you accomplish everything you ought to accomplish? That is my challenge to you. I've dealt with a lot of people like you in my career, and one trait bothers me. You don't understand failure. You never failed. You don't know what it is to get knocked down, pick yourself up, and try again. You've got to be tough as well as smart, and you either have that quality or I know you'll develop it, because as you go through life, you will have defeats and disappointments, and if you quit, you will never contribute as much as you could with the wonderful mind you're fortunate enough to have. Now, all of you really had to read it 5 times, memorize it, and struggle to get through here? Well, there's just a small number here, I can see. You'll be fine. You have a unique advantage. You've learned to persevere. You've learned not to quit. And it'll be an asset you take with you through life. You're survivors. You don't accept defeat. Adversity made you tough. You expect to pay the price. You'll do okay. That's a wonderful quality to have developed. Now, to all the graduates here today, I hope nobody feels special. I hope nobody feels cocky. I hope you'll all just think about how fortunate you are to be here. You could be starving to death on the streets of India. You could be on a small boat off Vietnam wondering if you would ever make shore. But you're here, and you have this opportunity. So please, don't go through the phase that most of us go through when we're young, what I call the arrogant, cocky, or I'm special phase. And let's bring it right down close to home. Some of you had scholarships. Some of you paid your tuition. But not a single person sitting up there in a black robe today paid the full cost of going to this university. And there are folks, as you drive away from here tonight, who you'll see doing the honest, everyday work of the world. They may be farming in their fields. They're outdoors all day in the heat like we are for one short afternoon. They may be patching roads. They're doing the good, honest work of the world. They're taxpayers. They helped pay your tuition. And please, please, please don't ever forget it. And I imagine what y'all wanted to hear from me is, okay, I'm out of school now, how can I be successful? My first piece of advice to you is, what is success? Success is being the best at whatever you do. And whatever you do, don't have making a lot of money as your God. That is the worst of all objectives you could possibly have. Take it from me, the successful minister, the successful missionary, the successful professor or teacher is every bit as successful as a successful businessman. If you could ask me one question, it would probably be, well, how do I find the right career path? In my own case, I contacted over 100 companies and just interviewed until I found something I had to do. And it worked for me. I give you that advice for what it's worth. Learn your business from the bottom up. Now, you have a college degree, and some of you with all the honors have great gifts. Start at the bottom, whether they ask you to or not. Understand the working man or woman. Get dirt under your fingernails. Otherwise, you won't know what's really going on. And my favorite people are people like you who demand to start third shift on the factory floor, or in my case, in the computer center as an operator trainee. For example, MBA from Harvard, third shift, trainee as a computer operator. One of those days, that person will be more likely to run the company than somebody who started out as an administrative assistant with an office, right? That's the way the world turns. Learn to extend your capabilities through others. You can just do so much. Those of you in the military units here today are learning leadership. You'll get to practice leadership starting next week. It will give you a big advantage. That's a multiplier. Getting things done through other people. Basic rule, Mr. Harold's already talked about it. The basic rule of leadership is the golden rule. Treat people the way you'd like to be treated. Be an example to those people. Finally, on my cheap advice to you, most important decision any of you make in the next few years is who you marry, right? Number one, be careful. It's a lot of fun to look, so don't rush into it. But when you marry, you sign a lifetime contract. Keep it. The children need you both. It's that simple. Now, I suggest to you that your ultimate challenge is to rear children who are more outstanding than you are. That's the greatest gift you can give to the world. Years ago, after the company was first successful, people asked me, how does it feel to be a big success? And I said, I won't know until my children are grown. See, they're all grown now. 5 for 5, they're too good to be true. I live in their shadow, and there's no better place to live than in your children's shadow. So day by day, as you go through your life, keep that priority absolutely number one. Otherwise, you may wind up with all the marbles, but if your kids are a mess, you'll be a bitter old frustrated person. And maybe you didn't make a lot of money, but you reared outstanding children. You'll be grinning from ear to ear all day, every day. Now, as long as you're going through life, live it. Live it to the fullest every day. We live in an era where everybody talks and nobody does anything. Do something. You know, if you make, now here's a weird one for you. If you make a mistake, take responsibility for it. I think I can sum up everything I've tried to say to you today. Just net it out to you. The common characteristic. I've had the privilege of knowing most of the people you'd consider the most successful people in our country. They're not the smartest people in the country. Interesting. They have one common trait. They don't quit. They don't give up. They don't understand failure. Don't ever leave them unconscious in the center of the ring. They'll get back up and start fighting again. They persevere. They represent what Winston Churchill said in his shortest speech, which he made to his school as an older man. Here's the entire speech. Never give in, never give in, never, never, never. Keep that thought. And next, and I'm coming to the end because it's hot. I knew I'd get a reaction out of you sooner or later. To build a successful life, you got to be involved. Teddy Roosevelt said it better than anybody I know. He said, it's not the critic who counts. It's not the person. Excuse me. It's not the critic who counts. It's not the man who points out how the strong man stumbled or where the actual doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes short again and again, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, and who at best in the end knows the triumph of high achievement, or who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly. That's everything I've tried to say to you today. And in closing, I'll leave you with this thought. As you go through life, as I've said, don't talk about it, do it. Don't pose around and create images, do things. And just remember this. A bell is no bell till you ring it. And a song is no song till you sing it. If you haven't heard anything else I've said, please listen to this. Love in your heart isn't put there to stay. Love isn't love till you give it away. God bless you all.